I come from the Episcopal Church in Brazil, and working with the poor was one of the main vocations we have. And hunger is a main topic for all of us. Food is a very symbolic thing in the Bible. And I remember back in Brazil, we have this beautiful prayer which says, "Dear God, give food to who is hungry, and give us who have food, hunger of justice."
There are people out there who are hungry, and that shouldn't be. That's just something that shouldn't be and doesn't have to be. But it's going to require a lot of work and a lot of time in order to get ahead of that problem.
People are more empowered when they can come in and choose the items that they want. And of course, this also allows them to have food that is more ethnically congruent with whatever their tradition is. And also, there's less waste. Because even though people need food and are hungry, people don't want to eat things that they don't like.
We have people standing in the line since 11 o'clock in the morning, waiting like 5 hours to get a box of food. This food pantry started with about 12 families per week. That was last November. In November 2012, we decided to open the client choice model. And from 12 families per week, we now have 100 to 140 families coming per week.
This is really a great ministry, and I see the call from God for me to utilize my linguistic language, which I could speak Cantonese, Mandarin, the Toisan, the Phukenes, the Tagalog, and the English, that I'll be able to be out there to help them. Because of the languages that they have, they feel there's a close connection with each other, and they open up themselves with their problems, with some difficulty in their life when they came to the United States.
I have been so moved by what I've seen here in terms of the degree to which people who can't even speak to each other because of language barrier will help each other. Because you hear the world in here, and everyone comes together to work on a common problem, which is hunger. And then we take this out with us into the world to talk about it and to bring others in to volunteer and work and also be transformed by the experience.
St. John's is a vibrant community here in the hills of Oakland, but because the nearest bus stop is a mile away, we don't have a lot of hungry people coming up to our doors. That's the great thing about having a relationship with other parishes that are closer to downtown Oakland, like St. James. We have about, I'd say 15 volunteers that weekly come down to St. James. And if you were to add up the volunteers that come once a month or bring food, we have something like 50 people probably connected to St. James.
One of the things I was looking for was an opportunity to give back to the community. With Facebook and all the internet, there's a major disconnect, and being able to volunteer here makes it possible to reconnect with people and give back. The hardest thing is having to stop. It's when you see people online and you know you're making a difference and you're bringing positive change to the neighborhood, and it ends at 5:30. You want to be able to continue, and it's only one day a week, and I wish we could do it more.
I think this pantry is doing a lot of good because it stands out right here in the community. You can generally tell just by the size of the crowd that we get outside that we are needed here in this community, and I think we're making a mark.
The poor around us is being crushed by the economy in this country, and it's getting hunger and hunger. So feeding ministries is also our vocation. We are called to change and transform society through different projects, and we are trying to do the best with the food pantry in St. James.
The premise of this program is to respond to the mandate to feed the hungry and to give drink to the thirsty, to acknowledge the Christ in the most vulnerable among us. So we decided to make this the most special meal we could. We've done things like tablecloths and flowers. We prepared a meal each month, jambalaya, which reflects the culture and taste of many of our guests.
Certainly more realistic about people who are less fortunate than I am, who maybe haven't had opportunities that I've had. That was another thing that was kind of an eye-opener for our children. I think they had kind of a romantic idea about what being hungry was like.
If you haven't eaten, it affects every part of your life. You're irritable, you really feel like life is unfair, and you might have a shorter fuse. So we think that providing this dinner, we do it once a month. It is a wonderful meal. It's a meal we would eat, so we don't feel like we're just giving these people something that we would not. So all these things we feel is part of not only good care of neighbor, but we feel is very connected to our faith and is what we would want done if we were in that situation.
Each table has a prayer and a blessing on it, and it also has a piece of paper and a pencil that if you have a prayer request, or we have had people write poems, we've had people just kind of write what their situation is, and we collect these at the end of the meal and we put them in our small chapel, and at Wednesday morning prayer, these individuals' prayer needs are met.
While we want to feed their bodies, give them nutrition, we also are concerned that we feed their souls, not with a theology or a doctrine, but with a love and compassion and a dignity for who they are.
Ideally, the best thing would be if Open Door could go out of business because there wasn't the need for it. We've seen, if anything, a growing need. There was in an earlier recession, not this last one, quite a few families that came with children, and we had not seen that in our experience previously. And then last month there was a particular spike in the numbers. We had like about 40 more people than normal, or than what is our average. I don't have an explanation, but I find that kind of concerning, given that our economy is supposedly getting better.
I'm Esty Cantor. I'm the Vicar of Good Shepherd Church, and I've been here about 3 years. Yeah, it's a really interesting and kind of unusual neighborhood because there are a couple of different populations that are really in need. And one of them, and the most unusual one, is that there's a large population of day laborers here because we're quite close to a big hardware lumber store. And so particularly on the corner right where our church is, there are sometimes dozens of day laborers out on the street waiting for work. They often don't eat all day. If they don't get a job, they don't eat. If they get a job, food might not be provided. So it's a really lovely sort of automatic population that we can serve.
Sometimes we have nothing to eat. Like some days the people coming only with the money for pay the bus and don't have for like coffee or water or something. But we can take something here. It's a great help.
It's also a very marginalized neighborhood, so there's a lot of poverty within the neighborhood. Families, children, elderly people, people who are addicted, all kinds of people. And they also come, and on the Friday you'll see a wonderful mix of people from the neighborhood, African-American people, Guatemalan people, all kinds of different people will come. Our chef Rudy is phenomenal. He takes things from the Alameda County Food Bank, whatever they have. If they have chickens that week, whatever they have, and he really makes an incredible lunch. Rudy is a Franciscan, and he's very much about giving and about love. He really makes the welcome felt with everyone.
The main church burned down, and so the congregation meets here on Sunday. So now this room is the church. It's a whole circle. The thing comes around so that there's worship here, there's communion here, there's food here, there's eating here, there's socializing here, and it's the whole thing.
When you come to this program, you see firsthand how to give back to society. I really appreciate the team of people here contributing to different races of people. The need, because it's very, very important. Some people maybe are not eating, and then you give them food, and then when you come to a place like this, you feel a certain type of energy because you're in a community with people of the same mindset. So that's beautiful too,
Of course, as Episcopalians, we have our Holy Communion during the church service, and it's a very beautiful thing. It's a high point of the service, but I really have felt that the making of the sandwiches and the offering of the sandwiches is very much a Holy Communion as well. And it seems to be for the recipients and for the givers very mutual. You can't have Holy Communion with one person. You've got to have another. So that's something, it involves bread, it involves people, it involves love, and it does very much feel like a type of Holy Communion.
Our church is a church without walls. And what that means is we do not have a building, we do not have pews, we do not have any material things in our services. We have one, maybe two items that are hard and solid. That is our holy table and our cups that we offer the liturgy in. Our worship is under the sky. We have been out in the rain a couple times during the rainy season here in California. And we have been out there with our friends, our members, in the rain, drenched, and the people were taken back because we were there. The hardest thing for me was getting it started. I was afraid, but somewhere along the line, I had a lot of pushing from friends of mine, and the Holy Spirit came and kicked me in the butt. And when I started in Oakland, we had the various groups come by and tell us we weren't welcome, but we were persistent, and most of the community members that we serve are right there behind us. They depend on us, not only for food, for their Sunday lunch. A lot of them, that's the only time they get to eat, other than what they find in garbage cans. And our main purpose is to pray with people and feed them lunches and be present for them. All the members and volunteers at Sacred Space, we get to know our members by name, so that way we are together and we're in one family.
I really believe that meeting people's basic human needs is one of our most important calls as Christians. In this parish, I love it when we write letters to Congress about hunger policy. I love that we do that as well as actually feeding hungry people. I think for me, I get great satisfaction from both meeting people's immediate needs and working to change the way that our society works such that not everybody gets what they need.
It's getting people involved in something that we all believe in.
The whole subject of outreach is a focus point for me. It's a primary interest, and I soon learned that the sandwich making and serving of a meal at Grip was a big part of St. Albans outreach. There are several different aspects. One, of course, is making 200 sandwiches each month. We do that one day, and the very next day at noon we participate in serving the noon meal at the Grip Super Center. And the thing I like about the Super Center is that they throw the doors open and anyone that needs a noon meal can come in off the street and get it. Over a period of 5 years, I've seen an increased number of people that are showing up. I'm a retired public educator, and I've seen a lot of folks that were down and out through the years. And I get a great deal of satisfaction out of helping a little bit to get these folks on their feet.
You know, it's a blessing. It's a blessing for me to participate in this. No one should be hungry. No one. And if there's anything, one small thing or something that we can do, we're there to do it.
Deacons stand at the doorway of the church looking outward into the community, and they see the people in the community and the needs of the people. Deacons' biggest job of all is to come back to the church, to the people in the pews, and inspire them to respond to those needs.
We're a commuter church. Most of the people who come here don't live in the neighborhood. So this is our opportunity to do something for the neighborhood, which is a neighborhood of high need.
I heard about this place through a friend. I've been coming here ever since she told me about the church, that they were giving away food. They give away nice things. I like the people here. They're very friendly. There are all usable meals. They are eatable. And the food they give away is usable. I'm living in a hotel. I have no cooking facilities. And it's hard to cook hot meals because I don't have a stove.
I'm not a member of St. Augustine's. I attend St. Clement's, but St. Clement's has an outreach program that assists other churches that have food pantries, including St. Augustine's. I'm a member of the outreach committee there. What I do here is I help people by setting up the food. I help the pantry by cleaning up the food. I help the people who come in by giving them directions and making sure that the right amounts of food is given out.
I came to this church through word of mouth, and there was papers posted on the light poles. So I decided to come in to be nosy. You know, I'm not always able to afford canned goods or powdered milk or, you know, these are things that come in handy toward the end of the month. I take away a good feeling. I came here one day and I volunteered, and it made me feel really good. You know, when you come to some place like this, you're not expecting to make friends. And like I said, I've made friends not only with the people here, but some of the people that come in also. I mean, because I know them through the neighborhood.
What I hope is that by running this program, which I hope will continue to grow, the people will see this church not only as a place to get food and be fed, but as a place to come together, to meet each other, to meet us from outside the community, to have more social interaction. And we have hopes that we will sometimes, at some point, expand this beyond food to also include clothing. We'd like to invite social service agencies to come and make connections with people. So there's a lot of room to grow and offer more to the community, but we've started with this and so far been fairly successful.
We get here together every Friday at 7:30. We assign a person during our Sunday morning to volunteer to go buy whatever we're gonna need for the following Friday. We get here Friday. We get together, we prepare everything. We have our youth involved as well, doing the 80 bags with fruit, napkins, and we have another group of ladies that we do the sandwiches. And Father Javier gets involved as well. He usually, mainly what he does is Saturday morning, which is lifting the boxes, water, and taking them to our vehicle. We go to Home Depot in El Cerrito. We're reaching out to a lot of people. We're having our youth as well being involved. And they see that we're helping other people. So they want to get involved.
It's the Pantry of Hope. This is what we call it, where people come in order to relieve some of the tension they may have, to get some of the things they may need and the resources. We started the food pantry last year in October. It took a while in order to get it open. When we were looking for a place in order to feed individuals, and we were having a hard time because we didn't have the space. Finally, the rector here, which was Mauricio Wilson, the Reverend, talked about, well, what about the place downstairs? And I said, well, it's gonna need some cleaning up. And it was a terrible place. Dirt floor, damp, and as you can see it now, it's a lighted, well-painted, warm place with shelving in order to serve the participants that come here to St. Paul's for the food pantry.
So we're changing the eating habits of some of our people here. We're getting people to switch from eating just, for example, all white rice to now eating brown rice. We're serving and offering whole grains, a lot of fresh produce, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit.
It's not only just the people that are really homeless or people who are very poor. You have middle-class people coming here to get food. And it's able to help them there's hope, and people care for them.
I come here sometimes because, you know, I'm low on funds and, you know, and they give out a great food basket. Well, I have some food, but, you know, can't really make a meal out of it.
So it's a way of connection, connecting people with others and learning names and being friendly.
Now I know some of the families. I actually know some of the names of their children. I know the ones that have daughters, the ones that have sons. I know some of the ages of their kids. Like today we gave out fresh squeeze juice. So one of the gentlemen that just left here, he has 3 daughters. So they'll be drinking fresh squeeze lemonade and ginger apple juice this week instead of say maybe a soda from the corner store or eating a bag of chips.
The red bags, what we wanted to do is to make sure that people were able to carry their food from here and not have to get plastic bags, but have something that they could bring every week. So we went out and I bought about 1,000 bags, where when they come here, they get 2 bags. If the bag wears out, they can get another one. But it gives them a sense of ownership. This is their pantry. This is where they come. And one of our members here named the Pantry of Hope. We're here to serve and to help.
People have really complicated life histories, physical disabilities, they've got mental problems. Society is not taking care of them, and I'm part of what helps pick up the pieces.
It feels good to try and help the community and the people who come here who maybe don't have other resources.
I'm always amazed when it comes together. You know, we have raw ingredients and an empty dining room, and then it turns into sit-down dinner for 120 to 150 people, and we have great volunteers.
I love the energy of the young people who come. They're so enthusiastic and happy to help out. It's really great to know that they're aware of the needs in the community, and they choose this as a place to come and participate.
Keeps things in perspective. You know, our lives are very comfortable where we're living, and it's nice to come here and help out some other folks. But everyone here is happy, and it's just kind of a nice sense of community when we join in and work side by side with everybody that's volunteering here, as well as serving the guests and hopefully making their day a little better.
Well, we feed 130 people once a month, and plus 100 bag lunches, so I think we do affect well over 100 people every time we do it.
I saw a real change in the population of guests coming in for dinner in the fall of 2008. There were a lot of people who didn't look like your traditional street people, people who looked a little better dressed, looked like they had had jobs coming in, and obviously being first-timers. They would walk up the stairs and look in, and it's really chaotic when we're serving. There's 140 people running around this dining room, and they looked like they had seen hell. And it's just like, hi, welcome, have a seat, someone will serve you, because they just lost their job and they were among the new poor. If you have a choice between paying PG&E and buying food, you pay PG&E and go line up at the soup kitchen. And, you know, that's a choice no one should have to make. And it grieves me that they have to make this. But again, we're here for them. We're holding up our little bit. But if you have enough people doing their little bit, you can change the world.